What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the Crucible Coliseum. I have a special talk today. I want to talk about the state of PvP. And I think this kind of speaks volumes to how people are feeling right now, especially the PvP enthusiasts, because of how they feel without trials going on. I feel personally a little bit of idle mind because of the fact that I can't really play the playlist that I'm putting so much time in Tuesday to Thursday to get ready for. So I think the state of PvP kind of breaks down to 5 different categories: the classes, the subclasses, the gunplay, lack of new maps, and then the 1-year disaster that was Trials. That may be a little bit harsh, but I'm sticking to my guns, but calling it a disaster because we spent the last week, which was the year anniversary of the playlist, exiting it on Saturday because of what exactly is going on. So to begin, the classes, and this may seem subjective to some, but I think it takes an objective outlook. Hunters have been the most dominant. Titans have been the most favored. Warlocks have been the most neglected. And I think that has taken, in my opinion, the grander scale of what it's been since I've started Destiny, but more particularly since I've returned to Destiny in Season of Dawn in February to get ready for Season of Worthy's Trials reintroduction. The Hunters have always been dominant. I think there always are going to be the class that is most represented to what people feel a first-person shooter is like. Mobility, quickness, agility, and overall great lengths with the jumping. Titans seem, in my opinion, the most favored, and I don't really just base that off of the debacle that was the Guardian Games of last year, and I think something's going to happen this year as well. Quote me on that, because I feel the Titans are just getting warmed up with their Guardian Game shenanigans. But the Titans have been, in my opinion, and I think it kind of reverberates with things that they've let go on with, not just stasis, but things in the past, the Antaeus wards, the one-eyed mask. They seem to be the most favored. Once there's a problem recognized, I don't know if it's because they can't figure out the solution is quick enough, or it's because let's just let it ride out a little bit. We got a bigger patch later on. We'll just let it sneak in there. Most of our guys are Titan mains anyways. It could give that perception off, but it definitely seems that some of the Titan, I don't want to call them exploits, but let's say the overpoweredness of Titans, One-Eyed Mask, Antaeus, currently Behemoth, those things get ridden on a train for a very long time. They said it took a amount of data to figure out what was wrong with Behemoth. It took quite a long time. I think a laughable amount of time, in my opinion, because they went through all the predicaments that were going on in Trials, and then on top of that, stasis, Behemoth just right in front of you, glaring right in front of you. And I don't think that there's issues with Shatter Dive as well. Let me just revert back to myself a little bit. I am a hunter main, and I really only play a hunter. And I've always felt that the Shatter Dive, I was almost prepared for it the first time around, that the Shatter Dive was going to get a cooldown. And it's look, it took them 2 times to figure out maybe we should add a cooldown to this. A nice 4-second cooldown. Next Tuesday, I'm going to break it down and figure out exactly how it plays in, because it kind of pertains to me. So let's break down the next category, subclasses. And I think this one's kind of obvious to most, and what it looks like across the scale when you go into more competitive playlists within PvP, whether it's survival, trials, obviously, and even elimination. What are the predominant classes being chosen amongst the classes? Clearly, we see a boost in the Warlocks, in Top Tree Dawnblade, and then Chaos Reach. Chaos Reach with the nerf, it's probably going to fall down a little bit, but the Dawnblade Top Tree mobility, it's unmatched. It's unmatched, and it's unfortunate that the Warlock stasis has seen such a downfall, because it's an expansion. Warlocks that want to be a part of the stasis conversation really can't, because their subclass isn't really that great in PvP. I think I've spoken to a few Warlock mains that are friends of mine. In PvE, they say they have a lot of fun with it, but in PvP, they feel completely neglected. One observation I think I can make on the Warlocks that I felt that would have kind of dealt with a lot of issues, especially early on, where the grenade, the wall grenade, was so predominant in the Crucible. If giving the Warlock the ability to break ice and crystals on the ground, like the other two classes, whether it's sliding as the Titan and shatter diving as the Hunter, I think it would have leveled out a little bit and probably would have helped the grander scale to mitigate a lot of people's problems with stasis on the Warlock. Clearly there was a bunch of other issues. The Penumbral Blast gave people the Vietnam dog meme feelings of old handheld Supernova from the past, but at the same time I felt it was much more manageable than handheld was. If you can all remember how handheld was, it was pretty lethal. It was pretty lethal at the same time. So the next subclass I'm going to talk about in terms of subclasses, clearly the Titan, and how overpowered it has been just over the time being. They have known that the Behemoth has been extremely strong. The damage mitigation on it is enormous. It is able to withstand so much. It takes you a super and a half to take care of it. It's really not that big of a fix, or at least in my opinion. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know anything about coding, but at the same time, I can't sit here and pretend like that was not something that was well aware that the Titan Behemoth in the Super was completely overpowered. It very much so was. Now, like I said, to my own class, I've already pointed out the Shatter Dive in the Hunter. It was something that a cooldown was probably necessary. I don't ever think it needed a damage mitigator. There was no reason to be in the midair. If you're putting yourself in there, it's a reckless situation anyways. Why are you being rewarded for it? And this is coming from over 400 to 600 hours of only Hunter play only. So I'm completely confident to say that character should not be having that much mitigation in itself. The subclass portion of the Hunter, though, we clearly know that the Revenant just takes complete dominance over any other subclass. If I'm one-on-one against a Hunter now, and they're not running Revenant, and they're in a light subclass, I am not worried whatsoever. Maybe if they're running Middle Tree on Arcstrider, I got to just be a little bit more cautious on where I throw my first sickle, but if that one's frozen, the second one's just it's done for. And beforehand, we were always concerned that we were worried about, oh no, Spectral. Everyone was worried about Spectral. Now Spectral doesn't stand a chance against the Remnant. The next part of the state of PvP is actually the positive portion of it, gunplay. I think the gunplay, right now, people would argue, is probably the best that it has been in a decent while. And why I say that, and why I tend to agree with a lot of people that feel that way, is because when the meta is in its most balanced, the hand cannons will see them at its highest rise in usage. 120s, it could make the argument that the two-tapping mechanism on the resilience, that maybe should be looked at. Obviously, two-tapping when you're proccing something like Rampage, you're proccing Kill Clip, excuse me. Those types of things should be two-tapping, but two-tapping right off the rip, I mean, those are just fine-tuning little things that I think could be manipulated in some point. But in honest opinion, and I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments, because this is where I was personally coming the most positive from, the gunplay. I think the gunplay is probably at its best right now than we have seen it in quite a while. And this one goes without saying, the lack of new maps. I'm actually kind of at a loss for this, because I don't know how something like new maps weren't given with Beyond Light, something for 6s, something for 3s, just something to set the tone of what it's going to be like in the future. We're playing maps from D1. We're playing maps that were set for 4 on 4. Let's get the bright minds over there to put and formulate a great 3 on 3 or a 6 on 6 map. I don't think it would be that difficult, and I think it would have helped to marketing for Beyond Light to let you know that there's a new PvP map for Beyond Light. So I was extremely disappointed that we didn't get a Europa PvP map, and I'll be continuously disappointed if we go through major season changes, major expansions without any new maps. Why is a new map not within the playing cards? At least if it's not something that is they're capable of doing now or in the future, there's got to be a real reason as to why. I think it's deserved, because it's something that we've been questioning for a little bit now. Now, the last part, Trials and the 1 year of disasters. I have been playing since March 13th, 2020, so I can relate what it has been like week in and week out. Some weeks were bad, some weeks were awesome, and unfortunately, a lot of those weeks were completely overwhelmed by the bad. And the previous 4 weeks now, between the win trading predicament, and I'm not blaming win trading now. It's a plethora of issues, but we've gone over those before. I think what has happened the last 4 weeks, it just puts this playlist in a giant spotlight. That either you guys gotta put it away, or you need to really put the brightest people available to fix this. You're making yourselves seem foolish. I have always said that this game in its entirety, and I said this yesterday, needs a new renaissance. Strikes, Gambit. I know Gambit was kind of molded together and it's seen something new, but again, a renaissance, just a refresh on what it means to go into Gambit now. A refresh of the strikes. We're still playing those old Nessus strikes, and I hate that we're playing those old Nessus strikes. I don't know why those weren't vaulted, and some of the older ones from D1s were put in its place. I think I would have been okay with that personally, but that's obviously a subjective point. But Trials, I've put countless hours and at least 52 weekends in the past year, playing at least one day within those weekends, and it's been a joke. I have been very blessed though, and fortunate to create an audience as yourself watching this, and the people that are in here in the live audience now that have been curious and have been supportive of my take on PvP in this game, and hopefully in other games as well if we branch out. But I'm humbled by that, and I'm blessed by that, and I kind of want to reverberate exactly how people feel. I'm not a player that gets to go to the lighthouse 20 times, 30 times a weekend. I try my hardest to get within somewhere between like 3 at least once. So anywhere between that, I'm keeping myself positive. I have learned from my mistakes from that first week and weeks on, but I have not seen Bungie learn from their mistakes in the playlist, and it's kind of disheartening. I know they have a ton of positive things to turn out, and it may sound like we're spoiled, but we're not getting to play the playlist. We're not getting to get to the new loot, and we're not able to play it when this certain win trading problem is going on because the PC has its problems or the console has its certain issues that are going on with connection. They got to get their act together. They got to get their act together. I really appreciate you guys tuning into this video. If you're here in the live audience, stay there. This isn't the end of the stream, just the end of the video. But if you're watching this video later on, please join us in the live audience Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, along with Saturday if Trials is going on, and now with anything's going on for Trials halftime. Thanks a lot. See you later.